All right, folks, we're rolling. We got Colton Tiefenthaler back here for the third time, I think, on the podcast. And, folks, very special guest of mine since it is my son, and I am very flattered to have him on here and have him joining our industry. And you guys heard from him about a year ago on his intro to solar and spent a year and a half there and then on for a special father-son episode. And now here he is with 6-7 months into wind.
Boy, I started in late May, so what's that, June, July, August, October, September? Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, you don't even have to take off your shoes for that one.
Almost had to. I just put October before September, so it's been a long day.
And I get extra little jokes and teasing because I'm allowed. Not only am I your host, I'm your dad.
Oh, yeah.
And, little teasing is probably always in order, so appreciate you.
Well, none of your guests are doing it enough. I watched the episodes. There needs to be some more teasing going on around here.
Okay. Well, cheers, kid.
Oh, cheers.
Thanks for coming back. Appreciate that. And I think what we're interested in hearing, of course, more about your career and what you've been doing, but tales from the field. What have you been up to? You're about 2 years into renewables now, right? Year and a half in solar, half in wind. What's it been like transitioning from solar to wind? Let's start there.
Well, it's, very different in a lot of ways, but also very similar in a lot of ways. Coming in, went through a lot of trainings and certifications, obviously, to be able to climb. And then my company puts everybody that I joined, puts everybody through electrical training and OSHA training and things like that. So a lot of similarities there. Of course, there's a lot of electrical and solar, almost entirely. You're not getting very high off the ground. And then, so a lot of the similarities came from the electrical background, electrical and safety, how to deal with electricity, understanding electricity, how it flows, the components of it, how to troubleshoot, no electrical flow, and then the safety aspect as well. A lot of the differences came from, working at heights. In solar, working at heights was replacing a panel that's on a tall hill, 10 feet tall was
A step ladder?
Right. Yeah. A 4-foot step ladder was my worst enemy back in solar days. And I came from utility scale solar, so not residential. Of course, in residential, you're working on rooftops and stuff that is an added variable. But from where I came from, it was hardly a variable. Maybe you had to get on top of an inverter to change a cooling fan or something. You're 12 feet off the ground if you're on a tall one, And now I'm, spending every day climbing 300-foot ladders and sitting up on top of the world. And also the mechanical and hydraulic aspects are significantly different. In solar, you have a few of those with different tracking systems, mechanical components. But the ones that I had experience with were very simple, 24-volt DC motors and stuff.
Sure.
So, simple stuff. And in wind, it's a lot different. There's a lot of mechanical components, massive gearboxes, massive generators, hydraulic systems for braking, pitching, electric pitching. And the electrical that goes into these is, in a lot of ways, more complex than solar. So it's been a huge learning curve for a lot of different areas. And I've been learning how to do the technical work, how to be out in the field and, climb these things, troubleshoot these turbines, lots of different platforms. Very luckily, with the company I'm at and the site that I'm at, we've got, I think, 9 different platforms at this site here in Tehachapi.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, very cool, right? And it really is an underrated advantage, I think.
What similarities are you finding? 9 different platforms. What's similar about them?
They're all the same. You turn a generator, create AC electricity, sync it up, and pump it to the grid. It's all very similar.
Kinetic, mechanical, electrical.
Yeah.
Get some transfers. Solar was just one transfer, right?
Yeah.
Kinetic, electric, right? They are very similar. All right. Differences?
Well, some of the older turbine platforms that I work on are the V15s, 16s, and 17s. And those are very simple machines. You know, some of them don't even need nacelle covers. You're looking at the high speed shaft turning from the side of the road, and some of them are as short as 45 feet tall. They can fit in your backyard.
Yep.
You know, and they produce 65 kilowatts. It's crazy. Yep. And then some of the bigger ones, you know, the biggest turbine on this site is a GE15, 1.5 megawatt turbine. That's obviously extraordinarily different. You could fit 20 people in the nacelle of that turbine, 5 in the hub if you got close. Right. There is no hub on a V15. There's no internal components there. It's
there's a hub.
Well, yes, you can't go inside. There's nothing inside.
It's solid.
It's solid, yeah. And you know the rotor length is crazy. Some of these older turbines, you know, 45, 80, and 140 foot V15s and 17s are one of their overspeed mechanisms is that the tip of the blade flaps out if it gets going too fast and just slows itself down that way. To reset those flaps, you climb the pegs, traverse around the lattice, tie off, and lean back and kick. You just kick the flap back in.
How'd you like doing that?
It's actually not so bad. I've done worse things. There's scarier things rather. It's not so bad, but it's crazy the way that you know, a lot of these guys on this site are very talented and hardworking grease monkeys.
Yep.
You know, they get up there and they climb around this lattice and swing off, and you know, then you see some of the work on some of the newer platforms. You're climbing up a tube. There's climb assist. You get up there and everything's automated. It's very different.
Where is this picture of you? Was it your first climb? And you got a picture, you're standing on the hub with your arms up.
One of the couple first ones.
We got to give this one because I obviously have that same picture of me when I was younger than you.
But yeah, it's the rite of passage photo. You know,
it is a rite of passage photo.
Stand up on the hub.
What month was that?
Boy, that was probably.
We got to give that to Jacob. He's gonna like that for the podcast. But that's a great one. Picture. You know, Mama's got it on the screensaver, I think.
Oh yeah.
Wall background.
There's a lot to be proud of.
You know those V17s used to get shipped over here from Denmark in a sea container? Whole thing, blades and all. Blade, machine, the whole thing.
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah. Doug Wickersham was on here talking about that.
That's cool.
And apparently empty Heineken bottles.
Well, yeah, they didn't get over here easy.
All right. So what are some scarier things that you've done?
Well, on this site in particular, there's a lot of lattice towers. Most of the in fact, I think we've only got three tube towers and about maybe 260, 270 lattice towers. So a lot of the time you're climbing, it's just totally exposed. That's something I've learned a lot of technicians have not experienced before. Climbing out in the elements, you know, in the cold, you're outside. You're climbing outside.
Yep. And
the wind, you're climbing outside. You climb until you hit the cutoff point, you know, 35, 40 mile per hour winds, whatever it is for no climb cutoff. You're going up outside, hanging on to those pegs.
You know what's funny is I started on lattice, and then later on the industry grew into tube. I didn't like the tubes.
You know, I prefer the lattice too.
Like, I can't breathe.
Yeah,
it's stuffy in here.
Yeah, it's not as much.
Open the doors. We need a draft.
Can we open a window?
Yeah.
It's interesting. So that's, I wouldn't call it tougher. It's just climbing, but I recently climbed a MET tower, a meteorological tower.
Let's talk about that.
That was a physically tough, probably the physically hardest climb I've done so far, and mentally by far the hardest.
Paint me a word picture of this tower.
So this is a meteorological data tower. They're all over the place, standard on renewable farms, but they're also used, with air traffic and for the weatherman and stuff. Very tall, skinny towers, lattice usually.
How skinny?
You could fit it on this table.
On this table. Do they have guide wires?
The one I climbed didn't. A lot of them do. Most of them do. It depends on the base, the foundation that it's built on. The one that I climbed had a bit of a wider foundation. Actually, you couldn't fit on this table. but in the room for sure. And it was concrete, so it had a poured foundation. Most of them are real narrow bases, and then they have tension guy wires going out that obviously hold it from falling over.
93 meters.
96.
96 meters.
Plus a little. 96 to the FAA light. But then on top of that, on a lot of these, you guys probably see them, is a little plate on top. And then on top of that is usually some more sensors, because it's different from 94 to 96, the wind speed. That's
For sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, they make you get way the heck up there.
How was that experience?
It was tough, man. It was tough. Took me, to climb 100 meters, like a 300-foot tower, it might take me 10, 15 minutes without climb assist. It took me 45 minutes to get to the top of this tower. Lots of breaks, lots of, zoning in. And a lot of guys do this every stinking day, and those guys are animals, real troopers. But it's the first time I ever had done this. So, we went slow, and I took lots of breaks, making sure I was gauging my comfort level the whole time, being smart about it as much as I could. And, you kind of focus on what's in front of you, focus on the task, keep going. Didn't look down a whole lot. Didn't get any cool pictures while I was up there. Just focus on what I was doing. This is a unique one. Well, I don't know if it's a unique one. It's unique compared to wind turbines at about probably 200, so 100 meters or 96 meters, right about 300 feet or so, give or take a few. At probably like 260 feet, the vertical lifeline where I'm attached with my lad safe on your harness when you're climbing, so you don't fall off the ladder. That line ends, and then there's about 40 more feet, 2 more sections to go up. No lifeline, so you're just pelican climbing, which is actually very standard again in these Met towers. A lot of guys just pelican climb, which is just scary. You got nothing to hold your tension. It's tough to hold your weight up, so there's tricks and things that people do with work positioners and stuff, hold themselves closer to the tower, take a breather, keep going up. That was a tough climb. We went out there, some subcontract work to go out and just replace a few Met sensors, wind speed and wind direction, so anemometers and wind vanes. When we looked at the tower, it was a little different than we expected. The tower itself and the condition of the sensors and the condition of the climb was a little worse than we'd expected. It had been neglected for, I think, about 7-8 years. So lots of inspections, and we just did an inspection climb. So I just went up, took a bunch of pictures, looked at a bunch of stuff, and came back down. Spent about 2.5 hours on the tower, and there's no platform. There's no deck to take a breather. You don't get to the yaw deck at any point and, all right, cool, I'm off the ladder now. I was just on pegs for 2.5 hours. And these weren't like the, V1715 pegs where you got, maybe 8 inches for your boot. These pegs were welded joints lag bolted into a tube, maybe 8-10 inches around that gets smaller as it goes up. So, the access for your boot's only about 4 inches, and it's mushroom headed on one side. So, with big steel toe, EH rated boots, there's not a lot of room for that. Your hands, I got about 3 fingers on each peg, and that's just where I stayed the whole time. It was a tough climb. Tough on the mental. I got down and my legs were wobbly for a little bit.
No, I was thinking somebody, I was asking around after you did this, hey, what's the safety protocol for this? And somebody says a physical. And I went, maybe a psych eval. This is nuts.
Yeah, it's tough work. Got to get done. Guys do it. Those towers are there for a reason, right? Good data. Have to be at different points. And, on this particular tower, there was wind speed and wind direction at, I think, like 38 meters and 64 meters and then 94, 96 meters. So all of that data is being used by somebody, right? It is applicable to something. It's got to be done. And those towers need service. So, it's not something that doesn't get done in the industry, just something I'd never done before.
Yeah.
And not my forte.
Yeah.
But it was a cool experience. Got up high. It was on the mountain right over here. Those of you familiar with the wind wall site, maybe, it's the big turbines you see right on the front of the mountain, driving in and out of Tehachapi on the Sand Canyon Pass. And this was, behind that mountain on the next hilltop. But the base of the tower was probably 600-700 feet above the freeway, the 58. So when you got up there, it felt like you were 1,000 feet in the air. It was crazy. The train was going by below me, the Tehachapi train, and I couldn't even hear it blowing its horn. It was crazy. I was so high up. It was pretty cool.
All right. I'm excited. I'm proud of you. You certainly have no fear. But, you know, this Met Tower climb, you know what makes me think? It's time for a safety moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Safety talk
thinking
moment?
it's time for a safety moment. What do you think? How about you give us a good safety message?
Let's
right
talk
at this
about
point in the podcast.
safety.
It has nothing to do with climbing a Met Tower,
No,
but
just completely
you know,
coincidental.
yeah, absolutely nothing to do with about that. But you know, what kind of safety moment could be something you learned here recently? Might you like to share with the audience?
So nobody's perfect, right? Well, when you're climbing anything for the first time and you find out that it's been neglected for a lot of years, no one's serviced it, no one's maintained it, or you just see issues, thorough inspections are required always, right? Always. Every time before you climb, you inspect your harness, you inspect the ladder, you inspect the vertical lifeline, you make sure you've got, you know, verified tie-off points where you need to stop. You do these things as part of your pre-climb inspection every single time. I did this when I got to the tower. Saw a couple of issues, none that were, you know, you should stop. You should not go right away. So we start going up. I start going up. At about, probably 30 meters-ish, you know, a third of the way up, I came to an obstruction in the vertical lifeline. This was a ground strap running up and down the tower all over the place. These are on everything, grounding cables that had come undone from the wind, from a bird, who knows what, and bird's nest itself around the vertical lifeline. So I can no longer pass it with my lad safe connected to the vertical lifeline. So what do? In that case, what you should do is call a stop work and reevaluate your scope because there's an obstruction that was not seen in your original inspection. Stop work, talk about the scope change, figure out how to maneuver around the obstruction safely. Do you need new tools? Do you need different tie-off points? Do you need to, use a different method of tie-off to get around it? How can you do this? Do you need to come down and bring different tools? Is it a crane job just because you can't get around it? These questions need to be discussed with people. So my partner and I discussed a method that would get me around it. We went forward with that method, and it was not a great method. It was safe. I wasn't going to fall, but it's not authorized. It's not a quality OSHA climbing method because there are, rules and regulations and reasons to climb safely. Personal fall arrest systems, PFAS, your lanyards, all of these things are in place for a reason. If something happens, you'll safely dangle until somebody can get to you. And you shouldn't go around them. And it's important to just stop, reevaluate, find the safe way to go around instead of, lean into some cowboy culture and just figure out how to get the job done regardless of safety.
We're gonna we'll circle back to that just dangle until somebody gets you a comment. But so cowboy culture that clearly pays more.
Well, no, I
You get a
wouldn't
premium
say
on your
so.
paycheck for that, or instant promotion. How's this work?
You didn't get the cowboy culture tax
tell
write-off?
me.
No, of course it doesn't pay more.
California gives a break on that deal.
Not California, other states. No, cowboy culture doesn't pay better. A lot of people might think it does. Maybe you get the job done that day, but that only goes so far. That only goes so far until somebody gets hurt, and then you're paying a lot more. I mean, if you're talking about just money, no good. You're talking about someone's life, some injury, there's no price. So it's not worth it. Do it safe, do it right. Not to mention cowboy culture, say you do the job some cowboy way, then you come down and, maybe you subcontract it out. There's a lot of ISPs in this industry. There's somebody from that site, some asset managers, representatives watching you most of the time. Am I going to hire somebody back to come do more work for me if I saw them do something unsafe and they came down and said, yeah, but we got it done. Now your turbine's running. No, the liability is insane. And we're talking about cost here. And also nobody wants those types of accidents on their hands. Nobody wants to be the one involved in those types of accidents. It doesn't pay to be a cowboy.
So I talk a lot about stop work responsibility, not just authority. And, you know, a lot of people hear those messages. I know I've probably never shared them with you.
No, I've never heard of that.
No. But what are some reasons that a technician won't call a stop work?
Well,
I mean, not you,
no.
but, you know, just in
lesser
general.
man. No, well, there's a lot of reasons. That maybe the most relatable reason for you technicians listening, and, you know, write to us if you think I'm wrong. But I think it's the hardest reason, or the most prevalent reason rather, to not call the stop work when you see an issue that changes the scope of the job, or you should, is that, you know, 90% of the time, a way around it. You can figure it out. You can still get the job done today. You're halfway up the tower. You can still get it done today. And a lot of technicians, good technicians, want to get the job done. They take pride in their work.
All right, wait a minute. That because they want to get the job done. So it's result oriented.
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, is the reason that people might not call a stop work when they should.
Okay.
So I think that's the reason that a lot of technicians might not call a stop work when they should.
Yeah.
Because they're result-oriented guys. They want to get the job done.
Yeah. I tell you what, one of the best answers I got was from Anna Aguirre. She was on here. And folks, go back and check out her episode, because she gave some of the best responses on how to convince people that's the wrong decision. And, you know, what I think I'd like from the audience is, if you guys are listening, I'd love to hear from you. Type in somewhere, what are the reasons people don't call a stop work when they should? Let's just be honest and talk about it. Then we can take it from there. All right, keep going. Yeah.
Very good. I want to add, I learned a lot about safety from Anna Aguirre. She's an instructor at Rise Renewables.
Yeah.
And definitely go watch her episode if you haven't yet. She's fantastic. Talks a lot about safety and how to talk about it openly. Because it's a little bit taboo. I think another reason people might not call a stop work is like pressure. You know, pressure from someone above you, pressure from the asset manager, from the owner. Get this job done. We've only got 8 hours to get this up, you know?
Well, let's not confuse pressure with your authority.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Altair Energy Services, and their highly trained, expert technical staff, leveraging decades of renewable power management experience into customized solutions for everyone to meet their energy goals and contribute to a better future for all. Altair's team of hardworking, respected experts are providing full-scope, turnkey repairs, planned and unplanned maintenance, system upgrades, fully autonomous technical crews, supplemental staffing, and customized dynamic scheduling to fit your power production needs. Contact Altair at info@altairenergyservices.com and learn more about their wide range of capabilities across multiple power technologies and platforms.
All right, let's get back to, and also not related to this Met Tower climb, but you mentioned dangling till somebody rescues you. What would be a good rescue strategy for this kind of a climb?
Bring a rescue kit with you.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
You should bring a rescue kit with you anytime you're climbing. Every single time.
Well, that's just good advice.
Yeah, no, I thought of that on my own.
I'm glad you're here to give that to us.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. You might be surprised how many times it doesn't happen in the industry. One of these culture things, you know, taboo to take the extra time, take the extra step, bring it up with you every single time. Well, I got all my tool bags, I got my replacement parts and my supplies. You know, maybe the the hoist isn't rated for this one extra bag, so I'm just going to leave it at the bottom of the tower or something like that, right? Or you're on a lattice tower, you got to set up a tool line and pulleys, and man, and do we have 1,000 feet of rope? I don't know, it's or 600 feet, whatever you need for this type of job. There's a lot of reasons, but none of them are good enough. Always have a rescue kit with you.
Okay. Appreciate the safety advice. Keep giving it. Don't stop talking about it.
Never will.
Appreciate you being vulnerable here and talking about some of these things. And we aren't calling anybody out in case anybody thought we were. But really appreciate that. But we have to lose the fear of sharing the stories. We just got to share the stories.
Right.
We just got to talk about it and then let folks know so that we can improve safety. It's that simple. And when we get rid of that nervousness and that fear and are vulnerable, then we know that we're mature enough as an industry to really keep people safe.
That's right. If there's a cultural issue around safety and talking about it, the only way it's going to change is if everybody talks about it.
That's it.
It has to start with one person.
Simple.
Nobody's perfect.
It's simple. Have you ever seen people hiding safety infractions?
Well, sure.
Well, then I won't even ask what they are. But on those moments, and for everyone, when somebody wants to try and take a safety infraction and sweep it under the rug, just know that you're not being mature enough to help somebody else stay safe. Just share it. Just share it. It's that simple.
Yeah. It's got to be talked about.
No reason to hide it.
Right.
And honestly, even if you do get written up or disciplined in some way or even terminated, great. It's okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to survive. You're going to find a new job and you're going to be better for it.
Right.
So just share it.
You only grow by being honest with yourself, right? You got to be honest with yourself about the...
Interesting.
All right. And, this is an industry where there's a lot of potential hazards all the time. And it takes constant vigilance, starting from the first thing in the morning at your tailgate meeting all the way till you're pulling into your driveway. You got to be vigilant about every potential change of scope, everything that you didn't expect and plan for. And it takes time. I think a big part of the issue in the culture is that it takes time to figure out safety, to recognize and identify the hazards, talk about mitigation plans and put them in place, and actually bring the rescue kit with you, or actually take a different road because it's icy, or who knows, whatever it may be.
It takes time. Are technicians paid per turbine or per amount of time?
Most are paid by the hour.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're paid by time. Take the time. Get paid to stay safe. It's not complicated.
You're right. You're very right.
Yeah, what are you in a hurry for? You're not going to make any more money.
No, it's good. And
Your career, you're not going to get a bonus. You're not going to get a promotion for
right.
cutting corners and rushing things along.
And I'll say this, it looks really stinking good to the people around you when you stand up for safety. When you actually stand up and say, no, I'm calling a stop work, guys. We can't free climb this tower because the vertical lifeline's broken. No, or we can't enter the hub because the wind's too high. No, it looks good. It never feels good in the moment because you're stopping something. You're telling somebody no. And that's tough. But that type of toughness looks good. It looks great. People want to hire that guy. Oh, he stood up for safety? Good job. Did you lose your job because you stood up for safety at your company? Come work for me. Tell me about what we could do to make this safer. That's the kind of guy I respect, kind of person in this industry I respect, somebody that stands up for it, owns up to their issue and turns it into a lessons learned. We have safety meetings. We have safety topics. Everybody talks about it. You got your monthlies or your weeklies or whatever, your safety brochures that come in your work email, whatever it may be at your company. Be the one that brings one up. Did you notice one in the field that nobody's talked about? Perfect. Let's talk about it more.
Maybe we should make calling stop works more common. Maybe we should encourage folks that have been in the industry, let's say, more than 1 year to watch for new people when they join the crew. And the first 12 weeks, they call a stop work every week for 12 weeks in front of that new person. and they can see how common and easy it is. On your first 90 days, on your first 3 months, 12 weeks, 12 stop works. You know, a stop work can last 5 minutes.
Of course.
It can last 5 hours too.
I think most are pretty darn short.
Most are pretty darn short.
Right.
But boy, how cool would it be if you got new to industry people and everybody knows about watching out for them and they got OJT on the job training. But what if part of that was you weren't teaching them how to use their stop work responsibility, authority, but you were showing them what it looks like to do it, and they were seeing how common and easy it was. So right off the bat, it's as rememberable as inspecting your climb gear, checking the tools in your bag. It's a normal thing. Hey, stop work. Guys, let's talk. I don't know how to do this. I think we're missing a tool. Where's the rope? Whatever it is. But use that terminology when you do it. I would challenge everybody to start using that terminology, because the stop work authority, it just feels so big, like you're going to shut a project down.
Right.
It's 5 minutes.
Or
Maybe
like
it's 30 minutes. It's okay. Whatever it is, it is.
Right.
What if we all just started doing it more?
I think, you say it's not so big as shutting a project down. It hardly ever is.
Hardly ever.
I think
sometimes, but
sure, if it's necessary, then that's what's necessary.
yeah.
I think a lot of people are afraid that it includes like a incident report or a write-up or something if you call a stop work.
A small documentation.
Yeah, just to say this is what we did.
Yeah.
It's the same as your work order you fill out when you're finished working on the turbine.
That's it.
Yeah,
What if we all just started doing it more?
I think it'd be great.
Let everybody hear us. Talk about it as a team. Jot it down in your report. Done deal.
I've done it, and I've had guys do it, just call a stop work because they didn't understand the scope of the task before we began. We do our tailgate, we talk about everything, go out to the field, we're about to start, inspecting panels or tearing open an inverter or climb the turbine, whatever it may be, and they say, well, actually, when we get up there, what exactly are we doing? Why do we need this tool? Do we need this tool that I didn't see packed in the trucks?
That's it.
Let's stop. I need to understand more. That's what it's for.
What is that thing that you do if you want to get really good at something? You practice it?
Right.
Let's just
Right.
practice this damn thing of calling a stop work
think
so
it's
that we can be great at it and everybody can be comfortable with it. Nice and simple.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
It shouldn't be so taboo.
No, it's not. It's simple.
And making it not taboo is not going to come from the safety manager saying it's not a bad thing to call stop work. Everybody should do it. Because as soon as that safety meeting's over, all the guys are going to laugh. It comes from you doing it whenever you need to. Maybe once a week. Train the new guy. OJT is training by leadership, lead by example, right? You have a new guy come on site that came out of a school and has no experience. He's going to learn so much from you as a technician that he's learning from. Lead by example.
And you seasoned folks, when your new people are you're training them, when they ask you a question mid-job, you can say, hey, something's been brought to my attention. I'm calling a stop work. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to get the right tools and the right procedure and the right, whatever it is. And we're talking about it as a team, and then we go back to work. It takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, 15 minutes. I mean, if you had to scuttle people around or something, still 15 minutes and everybody's back to work. And now we have knowledge. We have, equal sharing of information. And we go back to work. And how cool does that person feel? They didn't have to do it.
Right? That's a good way to do it.
And they see a few of those and all of a sudden, oh, this is common culture around here.
Oh, we all take safety seriously and understand what we're doing before we do it and stop when the scope changes. And, it's a darn good common culture.
Well, sounds like you just gave yourself some of the best advice I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. All right, we'll get off of that. I appreciate all the safety talk, because I do know folks around here. Got some new pictures of you this week. Tell me what in the world you're doing up here on this boom truck.
Oh, yeah.
Do you even know I'm getting these?
I didn't know you got that one. I haven't seen that one yet. No.
I'll send it to Jacob. And I'm going to send Jacob, I'm going to send you a few. One of them, he's making a gesture that, well, no, we want to edit or
I
something.
tried AI to get that gesture out of there very hard. It turned my face all mussed up.
But what are you doing up there?
So there was some blade work that needed to be done, and it was on a V17, an 80-foot tower.
Uh-huh.
It was shorty, and this is one of the towers that has those flaps that deploy. Those mechanisms are pretty simple. It's a spring and a rod, and it just uses centrifugal force when you over speeds, and there's enough force. That spring compresses enough, and there's a little nub inside a little female end that, when the spring compresses enough, it falls out, and the tip flaps. This turbine had a broken flap. We didn't know what was wrong with it, but it wouldn't go back in. Every time guys went up to kick it, it'd swing closed, and as soon as it started spinning just a little bit, it opened again. So we had to go up to troubleshoot, figure out what was up. To reach these, for a lot of them, you kind of can reach them from the tower, but you can't work on them. So a little boom truck, it's a little genie lift man basket boom truck. We went up to inspect it. What are we, probably 65, 70 feet in the air, not very high, and found that it was completely missing the male nub that goes into the female counterpart that works with that spring mechanism. We actually went up and down 3 separate times before we got this to work, which is a bummer in a boom truck. It's a lot quicker to climb the darn tower and go up in one of those stupid boom trucks. There's a little bit of sway and stuff, but it wasn't so bad. We were pretty low. I've seen guys go up a lot higher, crane man baskets and stuff.
Sure.
I went up to assist the crew that was working on it to write a procedure on remove and replace these flaps. When we got up there, we found out that the issue was actually not so bad. The flap was in fine condition, just needed a replacement bracket with that male end. So we didn't actually remove and replace the flap. So a little change of scope on the procedure writing end, but the troubleshoot was simple. We went out and got the right piece that we needed. But these 40-year-old turbines, they were made by some interesting folks back in the day, and every single one of these flaps have different hardware in them. So we went and found one, out of a laydown yard. I had a whole bunch of rotor sets and blades and flaps in them. Pulled one, brought it up there for the second, lift up. Didn't fit.
Some of those are like 40 plus years old.
Yeah.
40, 45 years old.
I think the oldest manufacturer.
I'm in that age. I got some replacement stuff going on too.
Yeah. I think replacement parts for you might be easier to find than for these flaps. Yeah, I know. We got up there and it's the right part. It came out of the exact same component, another flap for this turbine.
Yeah. And
it didn't fit. The bolt holes are wrong and the clearance is off. I put it in and it was flush with the top. It couldn't have, retracted all the way. So go back down, get the right one. Had to do a little bit of machine work, had to drill new holes in the bracket, had to file down a nub and actually add a couple of spacers and things. And, that's why this kind of work, you need a shop to do this kind of stuff on these old turbines.
Sure. Fab on site.
Yeah. No, immediately hot work entered the JSA. Grinding and filing and, drilling and stuff. So, we did that quick and, an hour and a half in the shop and then go for our third time and pray to God it works. And it did. Yeah, luckily. So it was a simple fix, but first time in a little man basket boom truck. That was kind of fun.
Very cool. And so you talked about procedure writing. What's going on with your career there with procedure writing?
Well, I'm actually not a wind turbine generator technician. I'm a technical field specialist. So I split my time pretty evenly between working in the field and spending time in the office writing technical procedures for work in the field, maintenances, repairs, anything that needs to be done. And it's applicable in a lot of ways, particularly on older platforms where there's no documentation anymore, or it's hard to find, companies have gone out of business, or just unique one-off jobs, or simply to have company-owned procedures for work that procedures do exist that just need to be built upon. That's been my position in wind since I've joined for the last 6 months. So it's been a bit of a learning curve. I spent a couple months out there kicking flaps and doing hydraulic unit maintenances and stuff. And then I come back and I write a procedure on it.
Okay. How's that been?
It's been really good.
What has made you good at procedure writing?
Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't come from this industry. I don't come from renewables. I grew up serving tables and went to college and got a degree in political science with a minor in professional writing. And I wrote a lot as a young man and had a lot of experience talking to people and spent a lot of time behind the keyboard. So when I was looking to transition away from my last position in solar, it wasn't particularly looking for something in writing. I don't think a lot of people seek that out. But an opportunity presented itself that was to become a procedure writer for this company. So we went back and forth a little bit talking about what that position would look like. The fact that I don't come from wind, you want me to write procedures on machines that don't know how they function? Yes, perfect. Come in and learn the right way, learn how they actually operate. And I had a bit of a background in electricity and, we always tinkered with cars and motorcycles and, I stuck a fork in a socket once and figured out electricity. So, there was a little bit of background that brought me up there. And there's just been a lot of learning. So like I said, I split my time, almost pretty evenly, pretty balanced share between working in the field, troubleshooting wind turbines, doing repairs and maintenances, learning just how they function, all the different components, electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, how all of these pieces fit together to generate power, even into some medium voltage and high voltage stuff, working in substations, from just balance of plant managing down to kicking flaps. Learning all of it has been the best way for me to learn how to be a good procedure writer. I've read a lot too. This particular site I'm at with so many different old platforms from very old to some fairly new. There's a lot of documentation. There's a library in there, an entire, 12 bookshelves full of schematics and maintenance manuals and original drawings, construction manuals, everything that these guys can get their hands on because they need it. I spent a lot of time sitting at the conference table reading these things, seeing how they're written. How did an OEM, how did an original engineer write this procedure? All right, why has the technician not opened this engineer's procedure since they've been here? How can I make it so that the technicians can benefit from and actually want to use the procedures that I write? How would I, as a technician coming from the field, want a procedure given to me to do work? How would I want it to look? So falling into this role where I get to have this kind of balance of work in the field and work in the office, I think makes me a bit of a better procedure writer. It gives me perspective on what you want.
Technical writing is, I think, something. So we talk about different career paths, and I don't know if you thought about it, but the fact that you got to spend so much time perfecting your use of the written word, where would that ever come back into play in a career in renewables? Probably didn't strike you.
Certainly didn't.
No. And, so for other folks out there, maybe you went to college and you have that skill set for use of the written word. Maybe it's technical writing, perhaps it's sales writing, perhaps it's, manuals, I don't know, any type of writing, maybe even journalism, you're reporting on something. Our industry needs that too. And those jobs and skill sets, I would say those skill sets can further advance your careers. So if the folks are getting out of college and looking for the right path, think about renewables. We need you in there too. And a technician job is the right starting job to do. Gets your foot in the door into a great industry.
What's Up Renewables is growing, and we're looking for new sponsors to join us. Our show connects leaders, innovators, and field professionals across the renewable industry, and our sponsors are part of that conversation. Some have seen their network expand instantly. Others have grown revenue and brand visibility through the connections they've made right here. If you want your company to reach the people driving the future of clean energy, now's the time to get involved. Contact us at media@whatsuprenewables.com to become a sponsor today.
All right, just had to make a plug for those kids that are coming out of college, thinking they got this cool I don't know, some kind of a degree in arts of some sort and going to be making six figures year one. I don't know. It seems that keeps popping up on whatever social media I use. And I'm like, oh my goodness. No, it's not true. And you got to find an industry that you like. And the energy industry is a great one. And there are other paths in energy, you know, and there are other great industries too. But you have to pick an industry, pick a company, and get started at the bottom, unfortunately, for all you kids coming out of school.
Get out of here with that, unfortunately. It's the best thing for somebody.
Thank you. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm bursting their bubble by saying it.
A slice of humble pie makes a wise guy.
All right.
No, it's the best. I took a job at the bottom. I had a degree, I had a 4-year degree that I spent the 6 figures on to get. You know, that sucked. You know, I thought I was gonna have this whole career path planned out when I was 18 years old because I knew everything.
Yeah, graduate, become senator.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody pays me all their money, and
I remember this plan.
oh yeah, it's a good one. Look where it got me. No, you got to start at the bottom. I started as a grunt at Tech One. I was walking a solar field in the middle of winters in Virginia, trying to figure out the difference between AC and DC electricity. I mean, I was.
Where are these tables? That's my favorite.
Right, yeah. If you weren't there for the first episode I came on back in maybe July, go watch it. It's funny.
But look at you now. Now you're
Yeah.
writing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You've moved from solar to wind, and you have a side. You have lots of great skills to offer, but you're starting to use one of them.
Right. You know, the pieces of the puzzle kind of come together when you stay humble and you work hard and you keep an eye open for every opportunity that might present itself to you. I looked for a career change out of solar for like 4 or 5 months before I decided on this path. You know, keep an eye open for opportunities. Don't take one if it's not good for you. Yeah, it's very interesting. I did not expect to be doing writing. Kind of thought I was done writing big long things. Thought I might do more speaking, but it's not so bad. And I take a lot of pride in creating something that not only would I like to use if I went out in the field, but that other technicians actually enjoy. The first person I go to after I write a procedure, after I finish one, is not the subject matter expert. It's not the safety guy. It's not my boss. Before I do any final edits or send it off for stamps of approval, I give it to the newest technician I can find and say, "Can you do this?" I've given them to my girlfriend. I've given them to my little sister. Does this make sense to you? Do I explain this in a way that you can understand? And that's my goal, you know? And that came from being a technician in the field and being given procedures. And, you know, it's like, you know, you folks might understand if you've never read a procedure for a maintenance or repair on a wind turbine or a solar farm. Have you read an IKEA, you know, building instructions? You get 37 steps in and it's missing 38. 3 of the screws aren't there. You've got 12 extra of this screw and they didn't give you any of the tools to do it. You know, I want to write something that prepares you for the work in the most quality and efficient way, walks you through it in a way that makes sense to anybody that picks up the procedure, and something that gets you into the job done and back safely and efficiently. You know, and I think I am starting to create that. You know, it's not something that happened overnight. I've been here for 6 months, but it's something that I love. It's something that even though it's hard work, nobody loves sitting there typing away. I just finished one that was 37 pages long. You know, nobody loves doing that.
What was this about?
It was for substation switching. It was a substation switching procedure in the case
Which
of...
you're an expert in.
Nope. You know the first substation I ever
You don't
walked
know,
in?
you're not the expert.
No.
Oh, interesting.
No. You know how many people, this is a great point for this. How many people I brought in to write this one procedure I just finished?
Tell me.
I couldn't. It's so many. How many subject matter, I leaned on as many subject matter experts on high voltage, switching, substation operations that I could find. I went out to the site and toured the substation, looked at everything that somebody's actually going to be putting their finger on. Every picture in that procedure I took with my phone or my camera. I took them. Every note I wrote by hand. I walked through it. I'd never been inside a substation house before I wrote this procedure. And now it's going through its final stamps.
Well, there you go, folks. You want to be a technical writer because you're great with the written word and see some cool shit? Come join Renewables. It's
And
that simple.
if you think it's not cool as shit, you got another thing coming. It's so cool. It's so cool. The numbers you read on these, once you get an understanding of electricity, the voltage levels, the current levels are baffling.
Yep.
You know, such high voltage, the switch has to be 25 feet in the air because it's that dangerous. It's very
Okay. So now that you've written it, you must be the expert.
cool. I'm an expert on writing it.
Oh, so like if there's an issue, we don't call you?
No. You'll see in the first couple pages of my procedure, you must be a certified substation switcher.
Which you...
No. I
No.
haven't been through those classes.
Interesting.
No.
Isn't it amazing how that works? How you can add value to another team and help keep people safe with the use of the written word and writing technical procedures, and you're still not the person to go do it.
No, I may never be able to go do the job I just wrote the procedure for, and nobody knows the procedure for doing that job better than me.
Right.
I wrote the book, you know.
But you're not the expert.
No,
I think that sometimes is a hard thing for folks to grasp, right? You don't need to, you can be the expert. You don't need to go write the book, right?
Right.
And you can write the book.
you don't need to be the
You don't
expert.
need to be the expert.
I would say nothing that I've written so far am I the expert on.
There you go.
I don't think there's one. You know, anything from, I mean, I've written a number of procedures, several for this site already, but none of them am I the best at doing just because I know every intricate part of it.
Of course.
I still drop wrenches and, you know, take longer than most guys to climb towers and things like that. You know, I write it for the guys that don't have the procedure. Because even the most experienced technician, when he goes to do something, he might know it like the back of his hand. You can slip up or you can forget. And, you know, not worse. The second worst thing to a safety incident, if you forget something, is having to get down and go back to the shop and get it.
Right.
So, you know, RTFM, read the factory manual, read the procedure.
Read the procedure.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what if I've been doing this for 10 years? Should I still read it?
Every time, dude. Reference it. How about this? How about you reference it? I don't want to give away all
But
my...
I've been doing this for 10 years, and now, you know, this new punk kid shows up and said, here's a procedure to do your job. How should I respond?
Wow, that's a tough one, ain't it? I've been faced with that a couple times because I'm not the expert and I work with the experts. I started introducing a new tactic in my procedures, and I don't want to give away all my tricks, but does an expert need to read a 20-page procedure on a task that he's done 100 times in his life? No. Does an expert want to read through the safety and maybe a checklist of common items that he may need to do? You know, this is your tool list. Maybe you are an R&R for a few weeks, had family thing or whatever. You come back, your truck, you took all your tools out of your truck. You know, you haven't been to this site before. Should you read a little safety checklist on how to properly get up tower, how to do the job, and maybe a nice tooling list and, you know, a flow of operations? Yeah.
So you're saying that you're writing in a way that allows me to reference maybe titles, a glossary, some flags for safety, some high-level overviews, so that I can take a good look at it and not, you know, lose a whole day?
Interactive table of contents
Interesting.
is, I mean, it's an advanced technician's best friend, an advanced technician checklist or something like that. That's somebody's best friend. And if the right person writes the procedure, it's something that the most advanced technician and the greenest guy off the truck can pick up and use. One document with the right tools, the right icons, the right symbols, the right verbiage, the right order of organization. Both guys can use it.
Okay. All right. Well, I love this. Now, I just got to pull something from Anna's. Did you write in there when you're switching, you have to face the switch and keep your eyes open the whole time?
Damn right.
Jeez. All right. I'm learning this.
Don't be afraid.
Oh man, it was like, oh my God.
No, dude. Are you wearing a face shield and a balaclava?
I didn't think I didn't.
Does that protect the back of your neck?
I don't think that existed. The baklava. I don't know.
Balaclava.
It was a dessert when I was a kid.
That's baklava, and it's
Well,
delicious.
it's wonderful. They didn't allow that at work. I didn't. No one issued me this
No
fancy dessert.
Well,
Yeah.
safety grows, luckily. Fancy dessert. You're going to the Transformer. Get your baklava.
All right.
No, you always look at what you're doing, don't you? If you're switching something, nothing should change for that. You wear the proper PPE, maintain the proper standoff distances, use the proper safety tools. You should look at what you're doing when you do it.
I like it.
Something could change. You throw your hot stick on an oil switch on a transformer, and before you switch, you turn around, and then you get the clear, all clear, and you switch. A bird could have landed there. You could have slipped off. Your hook could have slipped off, and now you're touching a live conductor. Who knows?
So one more quick peek and then look away.
Never.
Okay. All right. I'm trying. I'm losing this one, but I'm happy to lose this one.
No, look at what you're doing when you're doing it.
All right.
You
Very
don't
cool.
look away before you swing at a nail when you're holding it with your hand, do you?
Oh man, no. But I watched that other thumb to make sure it's out of the way.
Yeah, well, I'm smart.
All right. Well, what else have you been up to?
Been a lot of work. Been a fun transition. As I've shared on here before, I moved back to Tehachapi, my home ground, my stomping ground. From Virginia is where I was living previously, traveling the Northeast, a lot of travel over there and seeing a lot of cool areas and different places. But it's really nice to be back home. Been about 6 months, close to a lot of family I've missed for a long time. Working on a hill where you came up. It's very nostalgic. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a great place to live.
You get to sit in the offices that I never got to see until like this year.
Yeah, no. Can't say I'm not doing better.
Yeah, I think you made it.
Yeah, right.
Well, welcome back home.
It's been good. My girlfriend, who I met while I was traveling the country, working solar, figuring out where the tables were, she moved back here with me, which was a wonderful blessing. It was tough with the career change. We'd been dating for a little over a year at the time, and that's a tough thing. Move 3,000 miles away with me, or am I not going to take this job because I want to stay close to you? And she's an amazing partner that took a big risk and a big step and moved out here with me, and it's been nothing but wonderful. We found out a couple of months ago we're expecting a baby boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we got our first kid on the way, which
Congrats.
is extremely exciting.
Yep.
Yeah, about halfway through the pregnancy now, about 20 weeks. All the bad parts are over, and all the bad parts are still to come, from what people say.
Okay.
That's what everybody likes to say. Just wait.
Oh, all right.
No, it's been great. She's healthy, doing well. The kid's healthy, doing well, growing quick. Time goes by too quick, it feels like.
Yes.
Yeah, we do a little weekly updates with our little, pregnancy tracker app, and
Okay.
tells us, what's new with the baby, what's new with her, what to expect, and it always gives you some weird, obscure vegetable or fruit to compare the size of the baby
Oh,
to.
yeah. What size vegetable or fruit are we now?
I can't pronounce it. It's a Bulgarian divine or something like that. Bulgarian something, Bosnian. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's never like a potato or anything like that. I think we might have gotten a jalapeno many weeks ago.
Okay.
But every week we get these updates, right? And it shows you like a your handprint and their handprint, and then your footprint and their footprint, how it's growing, and even though it's extremely small and the kid's teeny tiny, it just feels like it's going by too fast. It already feels like he's growing too fast.
Yep. Well, congratulations, and they grow at the speed they're meant to grow.
Yep,
Yeah. So just as the song says, don't blink.
that's right.
Yeah. Well, congrats. All right. Well, I love having you back home too.
That's good.
Good stuff there. Boy, what's next in the career? So you've learned solar, you learned wind. Now you're using your writing skills and putting that to good use. next aspirations, ambitions, even just in the next 3, 6, 12 months?
It's a good question. It's a question all of you should be asking yourselves every day. What I am really focused on right now, so when I first started in this transition, the first kind of 6 months really was the goal, and I'm right about there, was learn everything I can about wind turbines. How do we generate power with the wind? What are these big tall fans blowing around the Midwest? And I think I've learned a lot. By no means an expert, and there's always more to know. But I understand the basics enough to be able to write on them, enough to be able to climb and work on them, and take pictures, take notes, learn every time. That was my goal, and now that I feel like I've kind of learned enough to work and write about them, in the short to medium term, I just want to become the best darn technical writer there is. I want to write procedures that people crave. I want people to take my procedure with them every time they go to do a job, even a task that they've done before. Every company's got a SharePoint or a OneDrive or a OEM specific database, whatever it is, with documentation and stuff. And a lot of technicians only access them when they come to a point, they need further troubleshooting help, or they, call a lead or a manager or something and ask for help. And I want to be able to write in a way that guys want to throw my procedure in their tool bag. They want to have it on their phone, on their SharePoint, or whatever it is. So that because they know that they can reference it when they have a question. I'm not there yet. Right. I've got a lot to learn. I've got a lot to practice. So that's kind of my goal in the medium to short term. I don't know if that's a 3-month goal. I think that's something that I'll always get better at. But I think within, 12, 15, 18 months, somewhere in like the year and a half range, I'll have gotten significantly better. I've already grown a lot. I mean, I just finished a 37-page doc. It's the longest I've ever written in my life. I went to college for writing. Nothing's ever challenged me like that in my writing skills. And there's a lot to learn, a lot of growing to do. But that's where I want to grow now, is just become the best at doing this.
Well, I think that should be the goal of any author, and it can't stop, right? An author always wants to achieve the point where its reader is not letting down its material, right? So you can't stop that. Anytime that you're authoring in general, that needs to be your focus and goal. That's your customer, that's your end user,
right?
So I think you're well on your way, though. I mean, I haven't, reviewed the new material yet, but I'm sure you're well on your way. And I'm very happy to hear these things, and proud of you for taking these steps and moving the career, getting outside of the comfort zone, and then also finding out that, hey, some of that stuff I did in college is useful. Oh my goodness.
That was news to my ears too. That was great.
Yeah.
Shoot, I had to take a little word refresher course. It'd been a few years. But it's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah.
It's like typing on a keyboard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I still remembered where shift was. It comes back.
Still there. Hasn't moved. And then telling stories from the field. And I think that's what I'm looking for more and more from you, is keep showing up and telling stories from the field. It is what we're looking to continue to share with technicians across the planet. Right, sharing stories from the field, specifically in safety, of course, but we also want to talk about quality work. We want to talk about new technologies and pieces, repairs, and maybe you're building something new. And sharing those stories so that others know that there is a path. It's okay to share. It's okay to stop work. Talk about the little mistakes that we make here and there.
Lessons learned.
Lessons learned, great. That's a teachable moment. And keep coming back and sharing some more stories. That's what I'm going to ask you for. And I hope others want to do that too. And, I know it's not easy, but you look so much more relaxed. This is your third time on the podcast. And I remember the first one. I remember the second one. And this one, super relaxed. It's not scary, right? But you're getting the word out, and we're just having a conversation, and we're telling stories from the field.
Well, as all of you technicians listening know, there's no shortage of stories from the field. Every day is a new story almost.
So let's tell them.
Yeah.
So let's tell them. And thank you for showing up and sharing some of yours. even though they were a little tough, we tried to change the narrative a little bit to protect those involved.
Not me. That's all right. I'll own my safety moments.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Proud of you. Anything else you want to share today?
Oh man, we touched on a lot. I'll bring more stories from the field next time.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that we kind of got into encouraging people to explore different career routes in renewables. It's something I've shared on here before, but I'll say again, I never expected from myself. Even though growing up in a family where you worked in renewables, I did never want that. And it turns out that there's a lot of opportunities and it's always going to be around. It's a place you should look if you haven't before. And then to the people that obviously have and are in renewables and listening, share your stories. You technicians out there, there's always stories to tell. Safety moments, cool things. Send your pictures in, comment on the post, share the stories.
There you go.
We all love reading them.
All right. Thanks, kid. Proud of you.
You got it. Thank you.
All right. Have a good time.